Okay. How's it going, everybody? Good morning. I'm up early. Yesterday we went to China, Maine. We went to the corner of Chow and Maine. So what the hell did I do with the iPad? I came around here. I lost the iPad, everybody. Found it. All right, so we are live, good to go. I'm going to share this in a few groups. All right, so I got this shared in a few groups. Hello, everybody. We went to China, Maine yesterday.
Chow and Maine.
They're on the corner of Chow and Maine. This gentleman who's an acquaintance on my Facebook wall was selling a $1,000 printer for, well, originally he was selling it for about $250 because the inks are very expensive. And he had a clogged printhead, and he ended up, wasting a lot of ink doing cleanings. And so he just gave up, and one man's junk is another man's treasure. So I made a 6-hour drive to buy a $1,000 printer that, I am getting up and working again. I just got to remember which way I was working on the printhead just a moment ago. So 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm on line number 5. And so far, every single line has been clogged. I mean, severely. Like this one here is severely clogged. But we just flushed that line out. To be very careful when we're doing this that we don't get any liquid into the port connector. And of course this is, a painstaking job because nobody wants to take the printhead out of a printer. It's very complicated. But once we get that taken out of there, you can see a clear stream coming down and waterfalling the printhead. And this is how you unclog a printhead. And then once it's unclogged, it'll be ready to print. And there's two things I can do at this point. I can keep the printer as my own, or we can sell the printer off, whichever one. I haven't decided what I want to do yet. So I will figure that out in a bit. But I have a bunch of ink to use in it. And no matter what, I can either do that or I can build another direct-to-garment printer out of this. So you can see I'm just waterfalling the printhead. We now have an unclogged printhead. Alright, so now all I'm going to do is get a cleaning sponge, and then we're going to reinstall the printhead. And that's how you turn a $1,000 printer that was being sold for $125 or a 225. He originally sold it for $225, and then when I got there, he's like, I'll just take $125. So right then and there, you know that that's a steal of a deal. And this is just one of the many things that printers are afraid to do. You know, they're afraid to clean their printer off because, quite honestly, it's really a lot of work. It's more work than people are wanting to deal with until I come along.
If people tell them, hey, it's cheaper to get a new one.
Now, it's not cheaper to get a new printer. It's easier to get a new printer. You know, and as wealthy as the guy was, he could have afforded a brand new printer. And it's too much trouble because then you've got to refill your inks. If you're not using OEM inks, you've got to go through some different reset chips and all that, and that's just a pain in the ass. Or one thing that's true about this industry is that it's never easy. Because as you see, I've got two P600s torn apart. And what I want to do is just grab one of these. I don't want to sit that thing in there, but I like those square ones. I really like to use these Tupperware bowls that I have. I've been plaguing up my house for weeks because you can just take a little cleaning solution like this, drop your printhead in it. Careful, oh yeah, look, I don't know if you can see just how filthy this printhead is. But you know, you can see right up under there, man, that thing is just right up along the wall. Here up along the metal, along the printhead right there, this thing is filthy. So I'm just going to try to give it a good cleaning over here. This is what happens when people don't print. If you don't print, your printhead's going to get dirty, filthy. You're going to get what's happened here, block lines. And I have to tell you, there was no way before I got my DTG printer that I would have been able to tear apart a printer and just by looking at it say, hey, that's a good buy. But now that I've worked so much on my P600, it's just perfect, you know, it's a no-brainer. And basically, I mean, you know, I've got a brand new printhead here for roughly 125 bucks. The best part about it is that the absolute best part about this deal is that the printer is still under factory warranty. Which, doing what I'm doing here does not invalidate the warranty. I just want to soak that printhead in that fluid there. And what that's going to do is break apart all of the dried ink on there. As you can see here, this is all the ink that was flooded into the clogged printer. So I'm going to turn that off. Let me check my back. 71%. So essentially, once you learn how to do this, and again, it's not easy. You got to tear apart a printer. You have to diagnose what's wrong with it. Many times you can't diagnose what's wrong with it until you turn it on. And even then, sometimes you can't diagnose what's wrong with it because usually what you think is wrong with it isn't. But in this case, you know, I was absolutely right. I was able to see a print nozzle check. And I just knew right away that it's a simple clog. One man's frustration becomes my treasure. Just want to flip this around and make sure that that print head is clean. And it is. Perfect. Some areas right under there that needs to be cleaned on the metal, so we'll get that off. And as soon as I get done here, we'll go drop that back into the printer. And you'll see that once I turn this on, it's going to have a perfect nozzle check. So the moral of the story is if you're in the Boston area and you've got a wacky clogged printer that you've done everything to try to get a perfect nozzle check and you can't, bring the printer to my office and I'll work on it and unclog it for you. And then I'll get you back up and running. For the simple fee of $100 billion. All right. This printer head has been brought back to life. Very cool. I think that we can go ahead and drop that back into the printer. I don't see anything on here. There's a little bit of build up over here that I'll take care of. Alrighty then, I think that that's going to be enough. So that I can put that back in. Let's go ahead and drop this back into the printer, which I've got just torn apart right over there. And I think pretty much we're going to have a success here. And what I want to do though, before I do that, is just kind of clean off the nozzles though. I'm sure the nozzles were firing fine. It's just a standard clogged printhead. Oh yeah, they're all good. All right, let's drop this back in. Rebuild the printer. socket here. Okay, so we're in perfectly. Alright, way to go, Ernie. Now we're just going to get our screws. And let's see which one I have. I think I put those over here. And so we're going the top 3 standing up, go inside of the printer chamber. I got that one locked down. You know, the first rule of repairing printers that I forgot, when you have long hair, is to always wear a hairband. So I'll be right back with my hairband. Bam bam. Okay, now we'll complete this and put the other screw back in. Then problem taken care of, and now we're just going to go ahead and put the carriage back on. Make sure all the dampers slide right on there. Okay, easy enough. Done this 100 times already. I tell you, my main problem that I'm having right now is I need light. So I'm going to just pick this light up and move it over here if you're watching. How to turn a $1,000 printer that was for sale for $125 back into a $1,000 printer. Move you guys right over here. So you kind of get a bird's eye view of what I'm doing as I'm putting this back. You guys have seen me do this multiple times on my DTG. If you're just tuning in, yesterday my wife and I went to Maine and we bought a printer that somebody had for sale. Now he's I guess a friend of ours, but he just kind of gave up on working on the printer.
A friend of mine, he's a friend of ours.
Yeah, a friend of ours. He gave up working on the printer because he just couldn't figure out why it was clogged and the amount of money that it takes to repair a clogged printer. The charge that Epson's going to charge a customer is just very, 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 you know, they'll charge you $500 to do this. And they'll tell you, yeah, it's a great deal. And you know, I guess if you're printing and you really like photography prints, yeah, that would, anything to get your printer up and running, you know. Okay, so I just need to be kind of further back on this. Alright, let's go ahead and get these dampers lined up down there.
China against a banger, man.
Next to banger made. Trailer for sale rent. I bought a room to let 50 cents. No smoke, no. Okay, that's in. Now we're just going to install want to look at something really quick and make sure that that's not my short screw that I need here. And that's my short screw that should go right over here. Perfect. And then I think it's this one that goes in over here. All right, now we're going to just slide this right back over the lock that baby in like this, put it all together. See trailer for sale around. Now once I get this printing, I'm either going to turn it this week, maybe next week, into a direct-to-garment printer. So I'll strip the whole printer down, tear it apart live on Facebook, turn it into a DTG, and have basically 2 DTGs going. And the best part about it is that I did it for under, I bought the printer for under 125 bucks. Or right at 125. Alright. That's on. The capping station over here is perfectly clean. Let me look at my wiper blade assembly. I see the problem right there. So then what I'm going to do is get this cleaning tool here. And we're going to clean that printhead there, or clean the wiper blade assembly, because it's definitely filthy. Look at all that. I'm sure you can see it. Let's get a dry one so I can reach in there and kind of sop up all of the sop you up like a biscuit. All that wet ink down there. It's just kind of trapped in there through time or whatever. We're just going to clean all that gunk out. You can see all that dried up ink. That's what happened. His wiper blade assembly, you see all that? That is the death to any printer if you cannot get in there and clean your wiper blade assembly. And that ink was just purely dried up. Wow. And that is why people give up on printing. I need to look with some bifocals. That's what they say. One man's junk is another man's treasure. Wish I could find my phone. I think it's in your car. Did you see it?
There's nothing in my car.
Alright.
Check all your pockets and your bags and stuff.
Negatory, negatory. Be a Skeletor, not a Negator. Alright, let's just see if I can see in there enough, because I don't know if I can. You know how I could see in there if I lowered this down? Just kick that flash on for a given moment. Let's try this right here. That lets you see everything I'm cleaning out in there. We'll just go ahead and get this cleaned out. Oh, that light really helps. Okay. Let's move that out of the way. And just keep cleaning this thing. That's what we want to do, is keep cleaning. I may have to remove the blade and give it a bath. Golly, there's just no way you can get a clean print with that kind of a mess. And that's the plague that gets most printers right there. And this kind of action is because the guy just let the printer sit and did not maintenance his printer. And sometimes, you know, you have to just get past the fear and tear your damn printer apart. But essentially, people that buy these printers, unless, see, this is the thing that I don't get. He had a printer that was fully under Epson warranty, and he just didn't want to pay the fee for the warranty, which, you know, was like $75 just for them to come out. But he was probably thinking, well, that's $75, and then I gotta buy.
Ink too, so.
Yeah, he's got to buy new ink, you know. So yeah, there's a little bit of issues he is having. But somebody like me who hoards ink, I'll hoard that ink and have the time of my life. Oh yeah, it's all coming out now. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a brand new printer. Golly, all that black ink under there. That's because it just sat for, you know, he said it sat for about 7 or 8 months. He gave up. And what you either have to do at this point is continue to run a bunch of cleanings, and you already know that's super expensive. We're just cleaning that wiper blade assembly there. A little bit of cleaning fluid. Getting in the caverns of these spaces here. Cleaning the top of it. All this ink in there is just like, it's really sad that he gave up and sold such a beautiful printer for pennies on the dollar. You know, a new round of ink on this thing would cost about $300, but you know, the instance is that once you clean it out, man, you've got a great printer, top of the line. And all I'm doing now is just getting under there in that wiper blade assembly, soaking up that ink to make sure that, you know, none of it drops onto my ink pad down there, because if you drop any ink on your ink pad, your wiper blade is going to pick it up. And golly, there's so much ink he's got in that thing right there that if you go to put new ink in it, then all that's going to happen is the wiper blade is just going to flush that old ink around, and the same problem is going to occur. I don't know if you can see that in there. You should be able to. You can see all that ink right there in the corner right here. And so we're just going to get a Q-tip and clean that out real quick. Let me see if I can. The wiper blade's been cleaned off. Now we'll just use a small Q-tip. Kelly,
Yo,
just so you know, this has a crack in it.
where?
Get that out of the way. Just make sure that gets thrown away. Thankfully, we don't have too bad of a mess over here because these are all of my Alright, these you can just wash off in water real quick. You just want to clear that food out of there if you can. No, all around here. Luckily for me, my cutting mat was here, because if not, that ink would have run through all over the floor. Alright, and back to what I was doing. And I was getting down into the depths of this little area with a very small Q-tip, swab tip I should say. Alright, I can't wait to power this on and see what happens. And that is what? Oh yeah, look, all that's coming out. Very good. All of that ink has to just soak up out of there. Look at all that. I mean, where's my camera point over here? Right here. Can't see where I'm at. You can see all that up in there.
When you get ready to eat, your breakfast is gonna be in the microwave.
Alright.
Or the oven here.
Let's just see if we can continue to clean that out real quick. So let me get Get up in, all of that ink is just settled in there from the time the printer sat dormant. Alright, that thing's getting cleaned out as we go. Every pass is that much more clean. That much more cleaner. I just need a little cleaning tool to scrape some of that ink off there. And then this printer will be good to go. Oh yeah, all of that ink is just caked in there. Wow. All of that would have eventually just kind of sprouted up in this printer issue. So, you know, I'm pretty excited, man. I got another direct-to-garment printer that I'm going to build, and it only cost me $125. You just want to get up in there and clean that area right there, so we're not plagued by this anymore. Get all that ink out of there. I can see the buildup. Yeah, I see some more down there. Once I get that out of there. Clean as brand new. Way to go, Ernie. And I just want to reach in there and kind of clean those tough areas out right there. And the more I clean it, the more it's going to work like new. All right. of buildup in there. Wow. So this is a tool that I bought from the Rhinestone world. And it's really been helpful to me because of the pointed end. I can just get into very, very, very intricate places and clean in there with this. Look at all that's coming out of there. I don't know if you can see that. Try to put it right there in front of the camera. Focus. Can already see that little buildup on there. Very cool. We'll get that finished and then we can reassemble the printer after I run a couple of printhead tests. Now earlier there was only very fragmented of cyan that was printing in the nozzle check. And I am thinking that what's going to print now is perfection. But I can already see I'm going to have to pull that wiper blade off and give it a bath because of the amount. Oh yeah, there's so much black ink under there. Unbelievable. Let's go ahead and get that off because that needs a bath. There's little knobs under there that you got to break loose. And then they should just kind of pull right off. Just like that. Let's look under there. Yeah, you can see all of that soot on there. Definitely that's part of the problem. So, turn that light off. I'll drop this in some cleaning solution. All that in there just came right off, perfect like we wanted. And clean wiper blade now. Now that the soot's off there, I can go ahead and drop some cleaning solution on that thing and just kind of let that sit in cleaning solution until it cleans out. Won't take very long. While I'm doing that, since I accidentally put so much cleaning solution in there, I'll go ahead and use it. Kind of see if I can't clean in that area without. You don't want to drop a lot. Oh god dang, look at all that in there. That thing has just never been cleaned. For some reason, I'm unknown why, I'm blocked on Facebook Messenger. I can post, but I cannot go and talk to you on Messenger. That's kind of weird. Just happened this morning. I was using Messenger all night, and I woke up and was unable to use Facebook Messenger. So if you're trying to message me or something, you can't. Sorry. Just post a comment on my wall. Get some more of this finished, and then we'll give a good bath to the capping station. See if we can't get all of this soot out of here. You gotta keep a clean capping station. It's part of the guaranteed performance of your printer, so if you're not keeping a clean capping station, you're not going to have happy printing. So I'm just going to move this across. See if I can get right up in there. Kind of just need to get right in there. There. Dang, I can't get any cleaner than that, everybody. Golly, look at all that soot coming off there. That's amazing. How much of a buildup of ink there was in this thing. And that's the truth, you know, once you get a printer, the last thing you want to do is a bunch of printhead cleanings, because it just flushes so much ink right out of your printer. But certainly you shouldn't give up over that. I should keep just trying to clean that thing and making sure you get rid of all of that buildup in there. This is primarily the only way to do it. Yeah, I think that's going to be okay. Just a couple more places I want to dry off in there. Once we got a dry area, we'll reinstall the wiper blade. Let's get back to clean again. A couple of areas that I need to get out with my tool. Just scrape right along those areas in here. Get that buildup out of there. Look at all that, wow. let's try to get this into the crevice of that thing one more time, and then we'll say we're done once we can get all that buildup out of there like we're doing now. It's all just starting to come out because I've scraped it. And now that's just some small buildup that we're moving out of there. And what we have now is a clean wiper blade assembly. Clean in that corner right there, clean on the rail. Just like that. Now let's dry it off and give it a dry application of the sponge dip. And that'll be clean enough to put our wiper blade assembly back in. Let's get in there and make sure I can reach those spaces. Like so. Sometimes you have to do this on your sublimation printers, your DTG printer. You always have to do this. White ink will get up in there and destroy your life. Sweet. Just kind of dig through all that stuff. Alrighty then, a few more places, everybody. Alright, let's see who's messaging me. Hopefully it's something important and my iPad is dead. Son of a gun. Never ceases to amaze me. Be very helpful if I could find my phone, but I cannot. I'll just wait for that to power up and take another look and see where we're at, and I think we're pretty much. I want to get that little buildup out of there if I can. Maybe I can move it around. Yeah, there you go. That's all that buildup I was after. Damn. Now you can just kind of see it scraping right off. Thanks, Matt, at the Rhinestone World, for such a cool tool. I bought several of these from you because, as you can see, you can get into the finest, smallest little areas with this. So let's see if I can get in there and get all that build out. There it came out, finally. Just got to get a little more in there. Wiggle that thing around. Good. Sweet. We want to get all that out of there. All right. I would say, everybody, that is about complete on that one. Now what I'm going to do is just get some cleaning solution and clean the capping station. So you can see now the wiper blade assembly has been perfectly cleaned. Let's go ahead and put that back in. Sometimes it can be a booger to put that thing in. The way this is loaded, you just got to keep working it until it pops right in. Great. Now let's go ahead and get a little bit of cleaning solution on the capping station. We're going to get us a different foam tool. And we're just going to go around and clean the top of the capping station, because this thing probably hasn't been flushed in ages. So we're just going to go like that. Now what I'm going to do is run some cleaning solution directly into it. Just going to manually clean that capping station. Work with about 5 cc's in there, and then we'll go ahead and just manually turn that capping station. Wrong screwdriver. This will work better for what I'm doing. And we're just going to want to cleaned a bit. Go down, then come back up. No ink buildup, perfect. There. That should do the trick. And we'll just go ahead and bring that back down. Like that. We'll roll our print head back over. I just want to put a little bit of fluid up there so it can rest on that stuff. Need a little bit. That's plenty. I'm just going to dock the print head in that for a little bit. And then what that'll do is any remaining fluid that's still over that print head is going to, I'll do one more flush of that thing. Perfect. That capping station is now clean. But we don't want to go up that high because I won't be able to dock the print head back. Unless I can lower that, boom, like that. And then we just want to catch right there. Drop some of this in here again. Just so that print head is going to, sit right on that stuff. Move over like this, and then we're going to take this. There you go. So that's on there. It's going to sit there, and then I'm going to back it off so that the print head will engage. Let's go ahead and put this back on. All my parts are on, yeah. Okay, we want to take this one, and we should have a small screw. It's going to be here. Okay, now we get to go through the rebuild. I want to move that hair out of there. That hair out of there. We certainly don't want that caught up in the okay. Let's get this put together. I should not have to open it up again. Back over here and see what's going on, how this wants to just slide right in over here. Like so, it should be just giving me a very common drop in if I don't hit the motor. We definitely don't want to hit that print motor going back on. Let's see if I just can't lift this up. Get a better look here. You can see it's very, very, very tight fit. Every part's got to fit perfectly right on its knob. But once it does, it'll just lock right in. Just got to find that knob down there. When it does, it'll set down perfectly. All right, let's start to put this thing together again. Big screws went on the bottom, like so. I've got a long screwdriver over here. Let's see what happens here. We're going to drop that in there. Make sure that just sets down. We want to make sure that screw is in there crooked or straight. It doesn't go in there at an angle. It's never good when that happens. Okay, that one's down. All the other parts now will just kind of fit into place. We've got a screw up here that'll go in just a moment. Just kind of work right around back here. Find out if our item is snapping in. Snapping in, okay, and then we're just going to use these little screws and get this thing rebuilt. Thanks for hanging on if you're watching. If not, you might find this pretty boring, but it is certainly not boring to me. Need some leverage back here. You don't want to lose that, that's for sure. You know, and an interesting note, when you get glasses, it seems like, you know, the more that you wear your glasses, the more you honestly can't see. Well, in my case, anyways. It's like I don't think my glasses are very, very fond, if you will. Telling you, man, the more I wear glasses, the more I hate them. Reason being, I just can't see a damn thing. Okay. I just want to see how and where this one piece came off. Not sure if that went under. I don't think it did. I remember it fell off right in this general area. That's going to be the door assembly. So when this thing locks, it's got to lock in here. Right, let me just move this down and take a look. And it's of course going to lock in when it goes into the locking assembly, just like that. So this was the small screw. That might be the one right back here. Yep. So then that's going to go right into this area here. That's going to lock our door down. Just like that, so that when it comes down, it is a perfect close. And that may actually need to go on after I put the door assembly on. Sometimes I get to building these darn things and I forget what goes where, but after you build a few, you just start remembering where everything goes. Alright, so we got to plug this little assembly in here. And this is the assembly that tells the door it's open. And it goes in just like this. Snaps in there. This snaps in down there. This snaps here. CN1 goes in the door. CN2 go, oops. In order to make these work, these have to actually, if I recall correctly, I think they slide through this pinhole here. So we just grab this and see if I can't get this in here. I should just be able to slide it right through. I'm pretty sure that's what it does, if I recall correctly, because we technically need to wrap around in there. That's perfect. So we'll go CN1. CN2. Like so. And then we'll want to get these over here and snap those in place. All right, just from now, we can actually put our piece back on here. And then we can just start reassembling as we go. But these are just the side doors, no big problem. Just going to put our back chamber on. Here. All right, and then our side pieces. We're almost done, everybody. Let's see, so one of these, I think this one goes over here. So it just slides right in. Like so. This one here is going to snap right in. Right about here. Just have to wait for our parts to get on. This is really not the way you want to rebuild this. You want to work on a big open table, but I have stuff up there that is kind of preventing me from doing that. Just going to want to get that there, and then, because I can't see the light. Over here, like so. And get this installed right. It's trying to tell me there's a little breaker area I need to look for. Right down here, unless, because I can't see. Ernie, I need light. Look at that. Once you get your light on, boom, it just goes right into place. Because I can see it. sweetness. Let's get the rest of these screws on. Let's see which one. This would be the left. Okay, I'm all backwards today, huh? Alrighty then. Since I'm over here, I may as well just clean this off. Cleaning that off will make the printer just look fabulous. And we just want to kind of snap this little bugger into place. All the places that it's going to snap in. Golly, boy, I really need light in this place. This one can just pop right in here, none of our screws. There's one more screw I need to put in there, interestingly enough. That right into that socket, and then just going to try to load that right in there, and it's going to be a bugger. Tell me I don't want to go in. There we go. And now we just want to try to pop that area in. Flush. It's not flush. There's just something causing an issue here. And it shouldn't be happening. These little grooves should just be able to pop right in for me without this much trouble. Bugger. You know, they come off so effortlessly. Going on is not always the case. Because that's got to wrap in that thing right there. And once it can wrap in there, and all of the places should just slide right in. And it should be able to lock down for us. Thank you very much. And here on this one, just gonna give it a turn like this so I can get over here to it. Just pull that up. Find out what the hell this isn't going in for correctly. All my snaps are right down here. Oh, that's the problem right there. I would foresee. Alright, so there's no better time to try to see what's going on now than the present moment. Printhead dock is moving just fine. I'm telling you, I think we're going to have a perfect print. Or at least a darn near perfect print. May have to redock the printhead. Sometimes if you don't redock the printhead, you'll get an error. Just as so. So let's go ahead and run a printhead nozzle check. See what happens. No need to run a cleaning since I've already cleaned the printhead. Hey, we've got life. Look at that, everybody. We've got life perfect. So, one cleaning, and that should do it. I bet they do. You're standing up all night. Come on, baby. I brought an entirely clogged printhead. For that. Just a little bit. We don't have ketchup. What do we have here? Yours? Mine. night, everybody. Just going to keep running these through until this finishes. Thanks for watching, and I kept this video for my own backup.